Hey guys, McJeffries here, and welcome back to the McJeffries Network on OpenTTD. You join me sort of at the conclusion of an ongoing project that I've been working on. I'm just, it seems a bit futile what I'm doing here, but I'm actually getting rid of trains in order to replace them with the same train. I'll explain why now, why not. Basically, I've built this new processing center. Let's get rid of this window here. I built this new processing center. This is the Nenham Processing Center, or Nenham, if you want to say it like that. And this is, it's got timber here as well, which for some reason has to go from the sawmill over to here because of the way I designed the station. That's a bit inefficient. Might change that actually. There's also got a sugar refinery, a stockyard, and a grain mill. This is a food processing place. Now we do have the dairy elsewhere on the network, which also produces food. So we're going to have food coming in from two different... Mouse playing up there. We're going to have food coming in from two different locations to our freight terminal just north of Guard City that we built last episode. And then from there it will be redistributed along the network. Why did I pause the game? I don't actually know. As I said, we've also got timber that will be coming from here just because I fancied having two different industries coming in here. We've got two different unloading bays. This one's for food, this one is for other materials. And then over here, we've got two sets of sidings. One for unload 1, one for unload 2. This one, however, is also linked to this set of sidings, which will eventually serve Fennington Interchange for terminating trains there. For those of you who aren't aware, this is the main line that comes out of GSMI and heads up towards Plaything Field. So because of this, I had to build some new connections, and I'm quite happy with how these turned out. So the first new connection is all the way down here. We've now got these two little waypoints here, the Conway Chord Approach Fast and the Conway Chord Approach Slow. They connect up to this existing freight line, which actually used to convey oil trains. It now conveys lots of different trains. And this line is now called the Conway Chord. Or at least this little section of line is. The rest of it might have different names. As you can see, we have lots of freight trains using it. Bit of lag there. I'm planning on getting some new, some more RAM to try and stop the lagginess on here, because it's starting to get a little bit irritating. Something else on here which is a little bit strange. This loop here, I haven't got any waypoints on it or anything, but this loop here was for originally when I put trains in. They were heading in the wrong direction, so I built this loop so they could turn around and head back. This is quite an integral junction here actually, because this way goes south to GSG, this way goes north towards Fort Hampton. But trains that are actually meant to be going up the main line, so via these stations here, are now actually using this. So they're coming in here, round the loop, and then out again. I don't necessarily have a problem with that actually, because it gets freight trains out of the way of passenger trains. The only thing that I do have a problem with is when it stops other freight trains, and so far it's behaving itself, so I don't have any problems there. Originally though, when I put all these grain trains and livestock trains in, etc., it was a nightmare. We had a lot of I mean, this whole place was gridlocked basically. We had both lines here were packed, both lines going through the tunnels here were packed. The loop was packed. I had to redo signalling and all sorts, and carefully move trains unsignalled, sort of a couple of tiles at a time, so that it would relieve congestion. It was a bit of a pain. But what we're going to be doing today, you might also notice that freight line was electrified. That's part of what we're doing today as well. And also all of this is electrified. I wonder why that could be. We'll find out in a second. I'm just going to carry on doing this though. I do want to get into actually doing some train building and some scheduling and some nice things, but before that we do actually have to make sure that this is all running smoothly. Otherwise, what is the point? Because this is where our food comes from. So we've got grain, which is what these trains convey, and then we've also got sugar beet, which is what these trains can convey, I think they're still set up properly. Yep, they are. Good. And these trains here are livestock. There are two lots of... What's going on here? Where exactly is that train waiting to go? You. Where are you trying to go? Yes, I had a feeling you were trying to go via the cord. Okay, if I set you off, and I'm going to watch you very, very carefully, make sure you don't crash. So far, so good. I'll make sure there's no trains in these tunnels. Nope, seem okay. That was a bit weird then. I think it's because I added a second tunnel here. You might see this is double track now. Also, I've added this weird sort of bridge tunnel combination in here. It kind of had to be done. It doesn't look particularly nice, but it functions, and that's what's the main thing with that. It's just so that we can increase capacity on this section of track, especially with what I'm actually planning on doing today. We do need to increase capacity, most definitely. Spoiler alerts, what I am planning on doing today is adding some food trains, and I'm hoping, I haven't actually tested this yet, but I am hoping that I can go ahead and use the cargo EMUs that we've used before to convey goods, which we are also going to use for goods, as well as these what turn out to be car carrying wagons. It's a bit weird considering they're supposed to be goods. You know, they start off as boxes on platforms and they turn into cars when they are put on the train. That's a little bit unusual. Can't really explain that one. Also, what's going on here? I think there's a signal missing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You should go there. Does that make that train go now? Oh, that train's waiting to get on the main line. Oh no, it's not. Of course it's not. What am I talking about? But there's some weird stuff going on here. So that one's now going again. Okay, good. So it's getting a bit busy over here again. Also here, Truckway Freight Link, this is now called, and I reconfigured these lines slightly to introduce new junctions here. This was actually very important because, again, there were too many trains waiting to access the main line, and there were trains blocking the main line waiting to access the freight links. So that's now been changed. I'm quite happy with that. Everything else here is pretty much as it was. Every time I come here, there's always a HST in that platform, and I'm starting to wonder if that's the same train that's always there because it doesn't leave. I might have to check that. I'm planning on redoing the airport links anyway. What on earth is going on over here? Okay, we seem to have developed a slight hitch here too. Actually, have we developed a slight hitch here? We have. It's... That's annoying. Problem is, because I've extended these trains to be 6 tiles long, one thing I haven't done is change... I mean, I suppose I've changed the depot there and I've changed the depot there. But here, I haven't. So I think I'm going to take away the electrification and convert it back to third rail. And third rail only. Let's go ahead and do that. So you, and you. Yep, good. So you can't use that line anymore. That train is now going somewhere. I don't know where. Hopefully to where it's supposed to be, which has released that train, which has released that train. Actually, that's a good question. What was that train waiting for? What was this one here waiting for? I can't do that yet. Because there's a train waiting to leave the depot. I knew I'd messed up somewhere. That's cool, that's fine. Eventually, guys, we will get into the meat of today's episode. In fact, we can get into the meat of today's episode. I'm just delaying it for no real reason, to be honest. Let's do that then. Let's actually do that. I need to pin these open. We'll move all these over to this corner. That was my phone. No, nothing majorly important. That's alright then. Okay. Let's go ahead and do... let me think. I think the best place I want to do this is over here. Yes, that should be the right one. Okay, so let me check if these cargo EMUs actually do what I want them to do. So, food, max speed, yes, good. So I think the only thing they don't do is mail. They do food, fruit, goods, good. Engineering supplies, manufacturing supplies. Oh, they do things like recyclables as well. Timber, wool. Unusual. They got a max speed of 187 miles per hour too, which is a good thing. Believe it or not. Normally, I wouldn't like that, but this time round, we're going to change the livery of it as well. Food. Containers? Oh god, that's ugly. No offence, whichever company you are. What's the difference between crates and containers? Well, apparently nothing. DB Schenker. That's the all red. Black and yellow. That's quite smart. Or the ERS or the HUSA. Okay, that's the one I don't like. So what's ERS like? Oh, okay, I like that one. I like that one. Right, so we are going to add in some waypoints here and here. And you are going to be fast. And we're going to add in some more waypoints here and here. And you are going to be slow. Okay. Yes, so the plan is... Sorry, I'm sort of thinking as I'm talking, which is never a good idea. So these are goods platforms. They are 4 tiles long. Which is perfect. And these accept food. And these accept goods. So we can actually run both sets of trains into here. And this station will actually start seeing its full use. Obviously then we can use tractors and lorries to convey goods and stuff further off into the city. Via all of these lovely... Not that one. All of these lovely goods depots that we've built. They're currently called postal offices. We're going to change them to goods depots. All I have to do is change the name. There's nothing really complicated involved there. So, let's start this off, shall we? So you're going to go via fast twice. Once you go via fast, you're then going to go to here, 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 and here. Oh wait, no, not there again. That's going to be weird, actually. Because it actually goes into here, then into the depot, and then out. Whereas normally we do the depot first, and then the long wait. It's always the first time for everything, isn't there? Right, and at this point it's going to hit max speed, or the max speed we're going to give it. which is probably going to be something around probably 150, maybe faster. Haven't really considered that actually. Now the big issue with this part of the line is it's not very oh, hang on. I just had a bit of an oopsie moment in my head. Yeah, we're going to have to do a little tweak. That's fine though. That's nothing major. Sorry, wherever you are. I got a comment, actually, because I was talking about my destructive nature last week, and I got a comment from... Let me check, because it would be rude not to. Well, actually, I've got lots of comments from last week. Once again, the comments are still coming thick and fast, which I'm very appreciative of, because I know that it's not great that I'm not uploading as regularly as perhaps I should. I do feel bad about that. But I did explain my reasons last week, and no one's questioned that, which is good. So I do appreciate that as well. It makes life a lot easier when I know that there's no pressure necessarily to carry on uploading if I can't actually get a video out. So that makes a massive difference. I really do appreciate that, everybody. But let's not talk about that too much. Let's actually focus on what we're doing today, shall we? Okay. So this is another little link, which we're just going to pop in like so. We'll pop a signal. Just make sure I do this properly. Get rid of you for a second. Pop that in. Pop that in. I don't think many long trains are going to be using this, so we don't have to worry too much about blocks being taken up or anything like that. Okie dokie. We now need to electrify this little section here as well. Okay, and we'll electrify all the way up to, well, over this bridge. And up to here. Right, so that comment I was telling you about, it was from Peter Evans, basically saying that destruction happens in real life too. And yes, it does. And I was sort of aware of that, but at the same time, it's kind of nice to get the affirmation. Sort of just someone else saying, actually, yeah, that does happen. That is a real thing. So that was pretty cool. I appreciate that. What am I doing? I am putting in a bridge for this one. And I'm going to get the bridge the right way round for this one. And that means then that I can convert this underpass into an overpass, which is always cool. Nice little aesthetic feature. And this is going to be Banley Fast. There we are. Right. So at this point there, that needs to be like this, and there, that needs to be like this. Okay, so far so good. So from Conway we carry on going down the fast lines until we reach, actually it might be a little bit further than I thought. NPC approach fast. There we go. And then here we come down this line here into food, where we load up. And then after food we go back via fast. We go back via Conway Court approach fast, which is all the way back down here. It's Conway Court approach fast. And then we go this way via Conway Court, like so. All the way along this track here, all the way along this track here. Right, I need to put in a waypoint somewhere up here for Linbourne Fast, and then I need to put another one, let's do it there, for Fast as well. So you are Fast, and this one here is going to be Fast as well, like so. Okay, Linbourne Fast, Great Pinning Hall Fast, sorry, Puning Hall Fast, and then normal freight trains go through here. This freight train I feel is capable of actually going up and over the hill here. So at this point, we're going to have to build another crossover somewhere, otherwise you're not going to be able to go in to where you're supposed to be properly. Actually, no. Do you know what? Let's get rid of those. Get rid of you. Get rid of you. We'll just do you via Linbourne and Great Puning Hall. Non-stop via. Non-stop via. Okay. And then from here, you'll then go up this way like you're supposed to. Do 2 via Suntbridge Valleys. Okay, and at this stage you'll go via Entry Northwest. Yep, like that. And then you'll go into unloading. And into here. And then you'll go into this one loading. Into here. And then you'll go via exit southeast. And you'll come down this way. And then you'll go via Latston Cord. Through here. And then back out via Suntbridge. And that should be all of it. Just got to make sure that's no loading, that's no unloading, and that is service. And that one is far end. That should be all of it. Now here's the tricky bit, is the speed limits. Because I'm starting to bring in strict speed limits on certain parts of the line now. I don't want to talk about this too much because it's not really something that I should be talking about, but some of you might be familiar with the fact that there was a tram crash in Croydon a couple of weeks ago now, I think it was. And the cause, they believe, was excessive speeding. So they've introduced stricter speed limits. I kind of want to reflect that in my series, sort of being a bit more safety conscious, because it's not great. You know, train crashes are not great. Britain, we're very lucky to have a very good safety record on our railways. So whenever something like that does happen, it's kind of a wake-up call for everybody, and stricter health and safety measures are brought in. It's just a shame that something like that does have to happen sometimes before people do start paying attention again. But we do have a good safety record. So I do want to reflect that. So strict speed limits is now part of what we're doing here. So for example, from this part of the main line here down to, well, let's do this. So that's 150. This one here is going to be 150. And then once we hit, in fact this one here as well I think is 150. Once we hit the approach here, we're going to drop it to 45. Now the other freight trains go 30, but I think it's an EMU. It's going to have extra special brakes on board. Extra special brakes, that doesn't sound right. It's going to have stronger brakes on board. It's modern technology. I think 45 is an acceptable speed limit. So again, we're going to be doing 45 all across here. And at this point here, it's going to be doing 150 again. Once we hit the chord approach, speed limit's going to be 45. And then on the chord itself, top speed is 75. because it's a freight only line, all the diesels go 75 miles per hour, so therefore our top speed is also going to be 75 miles per hour. I'm just checking that this is still... Yeah, no, good. Everything is in above board and working fine. I do need to add an extra waypoint here though, I feel. There. Whoops. There. We'll just call you Conway Chord West. Like so. We'll rename this one East. Like so. Right, back to this. We'll pin that open. It's the second Conway Chord. Is it the second one? It's just before Banley Fast. Yeah, there. We'll pop another waypoint in like so. Okay, so Linbourne is all the way over here. Top speed here will be 100 miles per hour because we're going to be sharing with the actual passenger EMU trains. But then once you hit... So I'm not actually happy with that being there. I think that actually should be on the main line. Like there. And the exit one should also be on the main line. Because you shouldn't really be accelerating up to speed until you've actually left the compound. That makes sense to me. Hopefully it makes sense to everyone else. So this will be entry southwest. Yep. Go to U. Exit southwest will be further down somewhere here. So exit southwest. It's good that waypoints actually stretch this far, because I really don't fancy having to do this the long way. I need that train to get out of the way. Come on. How slow can you move? There we go. Right, and then I need to do the other two. This one's going to be a bit longer. I'm not sure if this one's going to work. Oh, it does work. Wait, did it work? Was that exit or was that entry? That's entry. Okay, so I need to move the exit one over first. We'll move it to there. No. Now I should be able to get it where I need it. This bit's tricky because of the whole, the fact that the track is built mostly on a diagonal. And you're the entry one. So get rid of you. Entry and exit, yep, good. And then over here, I mean the entry one again, we can sort of put entry southeast. Move the exit one to there. Get rid of that. And then move to the exit one. There isn't really a good spot for it unless we put it... I suppose you could say that this is straight track, so we could just put exit there. And it will run just as fast. Okay. So what was I doing? I've forgotten. Right, here. Yes. Sunbridge Valley is also going to be 100 miles per hour. And then the entry northwest, which is here, speed limit drops to 45. Again, it's 30 for diesels. I'm going to do 45 for electric, just because it will be more realistic. So all of this here is going to be 45. All of this here is going to be 45. 45. 45. And then from this exit to the chord, To be honest, I think 45 again. It's not the most ideal of scenarios, but I think it will have to be 45 again. Which means that really, once we get to exit South E, so there, we need to go via Lon Hill. Non-stop via. Okay, so here, I might raise it to 60 actually. And the diesels will go 45. And then Lattston Cord, 60. And then once you get to Lon Hill, it's back to 100. And Suntbridge Valley will be 100. I feel like I've missed something out again. So this is the end of that freight cord. I feel like the speed limit here should be dropped again. So the speed limit there will drop, and then the trains will start picking up speed again here. So this will be binning pull freight. This is one of the reasons why I'm sort of putting off doing this, because as you can see, it gets very, very complicated very, very quickly. So this one is before Lindbourne. There we have U, and after there we have U. Okay, so this one is going to be 75. This one is going to drop to 45 again. Likewise here, this one is going to be 45. This one here is going to be 75. Oops, keep clicking the wrong thing. This one here is going to be 75. And then this one here is going to be 45. And then we're back on the main line, so we can go do the full 150 again. At least until we get to here. And then once we get to here, it's going to drop again to 45. I feel like, again, there's a section that we're probably missing out. I'm thinking there. Let me just check this. Yeah, I definitely think there. Right, so this will be GSP/MI goods approach. And again, we've got to add all these in. So you've now got to go via there. And then before you go into there, you've got to go via there. Right, check this again. That speed limit there is going to be 45. That's all good. So once you get to here, the speed limit will be 45. This one here, the speed limit will be 30. Once you get to the platforms itself, the speed limit will be 15. And then around the depot over here, the speed limit will be 30 again. So 30, 30, and 30. Right. Let's make sure that we're going via the right stop first. There we go. Autofill U. Right. Grab this. Food. Collapse all of them. FO. I always forget what it's called. NCP, isn't it? Yeah. NPC. Non-playable character. To GSP/MI via GFT. And you are 8 cars long. Grab the train, drag it into that one. Grab that train, drag it into that one. Or grab that and drag it into there. Make sure that's all good. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 should be enough for this journey. This episode's 35 minutes. We're about at the end. Once again, I get frustrated sometimes. I don't feel like we do enough in these episodes. I really feel like we could do more, but I don't want them to go over sort of 35, 40 minutes. So it gets quite frustrating. I think one of the problems is our network is very, very big. Sometimes I forget just how big it is. So doing things like this, even at 150 miles an hour, this stretch of track, not so much, but this stretch of track here from... sorry, I didn't see that line there for a second, I got a bit worried. This stretch track from here over to NPC, when you're in the diesel trains, which only goes 75 miles per hour, it actually feels very, very slow. And it feels like it takes a long time. And there's still loads of work that we want to do. I want to rebuild Fennington Interchange. It's one of the reasons why these trains aren't supposed to be running. I specifically said that they all go to depot. I think that was the last one, which is good. There's always one little lingerer somewhere that just won't go to depot. But I do want to rebuild this station so it is a proper interchange, and then there'll be terminating services that also use those sidings there. Because again, we want kind of the suburban services as well as the sort of interurban services. We've still got to do this little bit of work here on the overground network. I'm still plotting a route. I think it is sort of going to come up the hill here and then curve round and sort of follow the embankment here and then start curving this way and maybe follow this main road. Because there isn't that much urban build-up, and then somewhere here it's going to cut across, and I kind of like the idea of having a station on this little shelf just below the main station of GSMA, and then it will come across this way and we could build a new station over here, maybe not connecting directly with GSJ, but connecting maybe up to one of these stations instead, and then we'll probably have it go up and over the hill, but we'll come back to that. As long as it links up at Chatborn again, I've not got a problem. But I'm wasting a lot of time, guys. This episode is finished, unfortunately. Next time, where am I? Where am I? I've completely lost where I... Over here. Jesus Christ, I completely lost where I was then. Next time we're going to add some more food trains, because I'd like to have a food train going to Pronworth as well, because it's a main city. So that would involve probably starting... Actually, that's going to be quite complicated, because it's going to have to start at the dairy, which is all the way over here. At the dairy here, which again is only... I might, again, rebuild this slightly. To maybe include wood as well. Or bring some chemicals here and have some farm supplies. What are you? You're a plastics plant. Yeah, I'm not bothered about you. Although I have got goods being produced, more goods being produced from plant fibres and stuff as well. So we'll come back to that in a future episode. In fact, is this a plant fibres train? It is. Look at that. So where do you go again? I think you go up to... yeah, PPC. Do your thing up there. But yeah, we'll have a food train that starts here. It will then run via the loop. This will be diesel hauled, this train, so it won't be quite as fast. But it will come all the way along here, all the way along here, you know the drill. Through the tunnels, along this line, which by the way is very heavily congested now. So I might build a new sort of flyover dive under junction here instead, so that you don't have to cross over all these lines anymore. And then it'll do its usual trick. It'll come down here, come down this way. It'll then climb up the hill. Actually, I'll probably do it via this way and round it up. In fact, it will have to be this way, otherwise these won't connect, will they? Well, no, they will. They will. It probably makes sense if I did it here, actually. So they'll unload here, load up here, and then head off to probably back to Pronworth via the freight line. But you know, that's another problem for another day. I might even do that one off camera and then just show you it afterwards. But we're starting to bring in more freight trains now. Once the freight trains are done, We'll then start playing around with some more passenger services and bringing in passenger services. I'm very tempted to electrify the Eastern Main Line as far as Fenninghead Cross, so that we can have electric services running from GSG down that way as well. But again, that's something that we'll have to revisit another time. But until then, guys, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and of course if you're enjoying the series, drop some comments down below with ideas for future episodes. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. If you have already subscribed to my channel, thank you guys for your continued support. If you're not receiving notifications or anything like that about uploads, be sure to check that you've got your notification settings switched on. It's something that I've only been aware of very, very recently, but it's something that other YouTubers have been saying, so I thought I'd do the same. Just make sure you've got the notifications switched on, especially as my uploading is a bit sporadic right now. I'm sure you want to know when there is actually a new video up for you guys to watch. But apart from that, until next time, I will see you soon.